अब इस अंचल के नेपाल के विदेश मंत्रालय में इंचार्ज भृगु ढुवाना जी को मैं आग्रह करूंगा तो 2 मिनट अपनी बात है। भृगु ढुवाना जी।
Namaskar, Vijay Prakash ji, Honorable Minister, K.C. Tyagi ji, D.P. Tripathi ji, and distinguished personalities present here today, this evening. I'm very happy to speak a few words on this occasion. So basically, I'm from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I am in charge of South Asia Division that looks after India and other South Asia related matters at the Ministry. So if we look at the Nepal-India relations, it's known to all that it's an age-old relations we have, not only at the governmental level but also at the people-to-people level. And this kind of this cordial relations existing between the two countries have been moving ahead with the mutual recognition of the areas where we can cooperate. And if we look at this cooperative relations between the two countries, there are many areas and sectors we are currently cooperating, ranging from the water resources to power and other kinds of socio-economic development projects. So, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we have this engagement with various Indian agencies on different sectors. So, all these areas are aimed at enhancing the level of the development in the region and between the two countries, and we look forward to continued cooperation with the government of India as well as with all intellectuals and other scholars and other professionals. So I look forward to having this kind of continued relations with you all in the future, and that the bilateral relations at all levels between the two countries will flourish in the days ahead. Thank you very much.
प्रोफेसर नंदी बैठे हैं,
हाँ,
उनको सुनना चाहते हैं।
उन्हीं से समापन होगा, वही बोलेंगे। इस औपचारिक बातचीत का समापन प्रोफेसर नंदी की बात से होगा और उससे अनौपचारिक बातचीत का सिलसिला शुरू होगा। प्रोफेसर नंदी के बारे में हमारे नेपाल के साथी शायद बहुत ना जानते हों। हम लोग आर्थिक संबंधों में दुनिया कैसे एक हो रही है, ग्लोबलाइजेशन एक कैसे कर रहा है, वास्तव में वो एक नहीं कर रहा, तोड़ रहा है, लेकिन इंटीग्रेशन की बात होती है आर्थिक स्तर पे, राजनीतिक और सांस्कृतिक स्तर पे बहुत समय से दर्शन शास्त्री उस पर बोलते रहे हैं, समाजशास्त्री चिंतन करते रहे हैं, लेकिन आशीष नंदी जो है वो परंपरा और आधुनिकता के धरातल पर खड़े होके एक साथ दोनों की टीका कैसे कर रहे हैं, लोगों का मानस एक दूसरे से किस अंतर संबंध में जुड़ा है, इसके बारे में इस समय के सबसे बड़े प्रखर साक्षी हैं वो हमारे बीच। ये हमारा सौभाग्य है कि उन्होंने बहुत शॉर्ट नोटिस पे, क्योंकि मंत्री महोदय ने हमें शॉर्ट नोटिस दिया था, कल सुबह 10-11 बजे संदेश आया कि ग्रीन सिग्नल है, लेकिन हम हृदय से आभारी हैं। शॉर्ट नोटिस से कई बार जो स्पॉन्टेनिटी आती है, रिश्तों की जो स्थायित्व होता है वो उभर के आता है। तो आशीष दा को मैं कहूँगा वो चंद लफ्ज कहें यहाँ से।
I think it is quite superfluous to me to come and speak at this late hour. I notice there are a lot of journalists here. I am surprised they have thrived this long on fruit juice and cola drinks. I will be very brief. I think the real battle that is going on in this region of the world is between civilizational imperatives and imperatives of nation states. Nation state is a new discovery in the world. States might have been ancient, but nation states were consolidated only in mid-17th century. It has a history only of 300 years, and now it is already showing some strength. It is particularly showing strength in this part of the world, and perhaps also in Africa. So what I will do is to emphasize the clash that has emerged between civilizational pushes and demands of nation state. Most of our problems arise from that. I will specifically mention, there is no time to dilate on this, I will specifically mention two issues which confront us, which everybody knows. I am not going to give any new data. Everybody knows this, but nobody recognizes it, because it is very painful to recognize. I am not an economist, and I am not a student of political economy. I deal with human consciousness, human subjectivities. I am a psychologist, and also perhaps a bit of a sociologist and political analyst. I have never found any instance of spectacular development, speedy development, which has not been accompanied by authoritarianism. The only partial exceptions, this is also partial exceptions, were those colonial countries which grew rather speedily, rather spectacularly from 18th century onwards. England, France, and Germany. And the reason that without authoritarianism is this, that they exported their authoritarianism to their colonies. When the Germans subjugated the rebellion of the Hereros and the Namaquas in West Africa, two tribes which had risen against them, at the end of the genocide, only 700 remaining persons were left for the tribes. They finished off virtually the two tribes. And I can give you many examples. Concentration camp was discovered in South Africa during the Boer War. And the idea of area boundary as opposed to strategic boundary was discovered by Winston Churchill and Sir Arthur Harris in Britain. The colonialism also was adjunct of this kind of development. So they escaped it to some extent. But their record also is very poor, even in England, the mother of parliamentary democracy. If you read the history of enclosure movement, if you read about the way children and women began to be treated in Victorian England, the G-nannies, accounts of G-nannies, and the authoritarian schooling, and the ill-treatment of children, you will be appalled. So there is this history. Now here I find in South Asia that dream of a spectacular development has caught on. And I'm afraid we have to be ready for very hard times. It has not infected the Nepalese as much as it has captured the imagination of Indians and Pakistanis and Bangladeshis. I'm not including Sri Lanka in it because Sri Lanka wanted to acknowledge Singapore at a time when it was being called the first welfare society in the Southern Hemisphere. when it was said that Sri Lanka has opted out of the third world because it has a welfare state. But they were not happy with the welfare state. They wanted spectacular development, and they have paid for it in blood for that dream and that imagination. I hope we will see a better future. There are some limits to the kind of spectacular growth we are trying to see. Because the toll this development has taken in India is already enormous. Displacement is equal, I think it is 6 crore of people, 6 million, displaced by development only. This is 3 times the number of people displaced during partition in the first flush. I can go on giving this. The farmer suicide. The 300,000 farmers who have committed suicide are not from the poor states of India. They are not from Bihar, UP, or Rajasthan, or Nepal. They are from the states which were highly successful in green revolution. States which were seen as progressive and modern. I hope you will think about that. I am not giving you mathematical equations. I am simplifying a very complex situation, but I invite you to at least pay some attention to this. These obvious anomalies which we know are there, but we don't want to face and confront. I have hope only in 2 or 3 things which are also civilizationally given, which even the worst situation have not been able to erase from our societies. I don't have time once again to elaborate on them. I will be very brief and almost telegraphic in my reference. Pakistan holds the record. Now, this is supposed to be a hellhole. The hellhole of the state of Pakistan holds the world record. It deserves to go in the Guinness Book of Records of bringing down 4 army regimes to street demonstrations only with minimum bloodshed. Nepal's democratization movement probably have tried to take this without much success because the situation is often complex. Was probably perhaps hold the record for being the world's shortest democratic movement. Both are in this part of the city. Both are part of our civilization. We should be proud of that. We should build on the strength of regimes and cultures, societies, not on their weaknesses. There are many problems. I am not giving a testimonial to Pakistan or to Nepal, but we must build on. I think in this part of the world, the attachment to democracy is fundamental, given to the people. I am told that Jacaranda was extremely disturbed by the total silence when the emergency was imposed. It seemed a very dark time. He probably suspected that Mrs. Gandhi's popularity will last very long. She had won the Bangladesh war, she had exploded a nuclear device, and she dealt a spectacular defeat to the so-called syndicate. But yet, and he thought that the emergency was probably going to be a long-term thing. When it was imposed, the electorate of the country stood behind democracy, much better than its elites or bureaucracies or politicians. Think of that too. So we have that intrinsic strength. 2, that Indian politics, and this shows this very clearly, but to have examples from all parts. In this part, this was a part of this democratic principle. that there is a place, not only place, there is a genuine, defined place for unheroic politics. Some politicians are intelligent enough to understand it at some stage of their life, others are not. I know politicians who have, even in the late 70s, are still trying to be heroes modeled on Bombay film. I remember now, I don't have to take names, but you can guess whom I am talking about, many of them. And some of the politicians, when they come to ask me that, do you have any tips to give? I said, I don't have tips to give, but maybe one tip I can give you, that always try to pretend that you are less intelligent than you are. But this is a temptation, very difficult to resist, and I have met a lot of politicians who try to pretend that they are more intelligent than they are. So that skill, I don't have to tell this, it's not like this, unheroic politics. If I may say so, look at the biography of the present Prime Minister of Nepal, will tell the story also very nicely. Unheroic politics is more long-lasting and cuts much deeper in these societies, in this part of the world, than heroic politics. And finally, we have an intrinsic capacity to live with radical diversities. I don't want to explain this, but under all the rhetoric